We have all ever met someone who talks like they're the smartest person in the room, but something just doesn't add up. Like they throw in fancy words, quote a few philosophers, or act like they've read every book ever written. But deep down, you can feel something's off. Their confidence doesn't come from knowledge, it's more of a performance. And the thing is, fake intelligence is everywhere today. From social media gurus who recycle ideas to people in real life who always have to be right about everything. But here's the truth. Real intelligence doesn't need to perform. It doesn't need to prove anything. So in this video, we're breaking down 9 ways to tell when someone is faking intelligence. Number 8 is where the ultimate test of intelligence lies. Now let's start with one of the easiest giveaways. Number 1, they overcomplicate simple things. Instead of saying something in a clear, direct way, fake smart people use unnecessary big words to sound genius. They might say, in a multi-dimensional perspective, our emotional frameworks operate under contextual paradigms of self-awareness, when they could have just said, we understand ourselves through our emotions. Why do they do this? Because confusion is their disguise. The more complicated they sound, the less likely you are to realize they don't actually know what they're talking about. It's like putting glitter on an empty box, shiny but hollow. Real intelligence, on the other hand, is about clarity. Truly smart people simplify, not exaggerate. They take something complex and make it easy enough for anyone to grasp. That's why Einstein once said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. If someone's constantly making you feel dumb with their words instead of helping you understand, chances are they're performing, not teaching. Number 2, they talk more than they listen. You've probably met this type. They dominate every conversation. They interrupt, talk over others, and somehow always turn the topic back to themselves. Fake smart people see every conversation as an opportunity to prove their intelligence, not to learn anything new. When someone's faking intelligence, listening feels like a waste of time to them because they already think they know more than everyone else. They don't ask genuine questions, they just wait for their turn to speak again. But real intelligence looks very different. Smart people are curious. They're hungry to understand perspectives, to learn from people who think differently. They listen actively because they know knowledge can come from anyone, a friend, a stranger, or even a child. If you meet someone who listens with patience and asks thoughtful follow-ups, that's someone who values understanding more than attention. Number 3, they hate being proven wrong. This one is huge. Fake intelligence has a fragile ego. When you correct them or challenge their idea, they get defensive, dismissive, or even angry. They'll double down on a wrong point just to protect their image. They're not trying to find the truth, they're trying to protect their reputation. Being wrong to them feels like being exposed. It's not about knowledge anymore, it's about pride. Real intelligence? Completely different. Truly smart people love being corrected because it means they've learned something new. They'll say something like, that's a good point, or I hadn't thought about it that way. They understand that growth only happens when your ideas are challenged. So if someone always needs to be right, you're not dealing with confidence, you're dealing with insecurity. Number 4, they use terms without real understanding. This one is even hilarious once you start noticing it. Fake smart people love buzzwords. They'll throw around terms like blockchain, neuroscience, quantum, metaverse, or sociocultural paradigms. It sounds impressive until you ask, can you explain what that means? And that's where the act crumbles. Suddenly, they start stuttering, changing subjects, or repeating the same few lines they've memorized. It's because they don't understand those words, they just think they sound smart when they use them. If someone really understands a complex topic, they can explain it in simple, relatable terms. They can give real-world examples. They can connect it to things you already know. That's what separates depth from decoration. So next time someone drops a fancy term, ask them to explain it like you're 5. If they can't, you've just spotted fake intelligence in action.
5. They focus on being right, not on understanding. Here's another subtle but powerful sign. They care more about winning arguments than actually understanding what's being discussed. For them, debates aren't about exploring ideas, they're about proving superiority. They'll twist your words, cherry-pick facts, or move the goalposts just to avoid admitting they're wrong. To them, every conversation is a battle for ego survival. And what's funny is, most people who do this don't even realize they're doing it. They just can't stand not being seen as the smart one. Real intelligence doesn't work like that. Smart people don't treat conversations as contests. They ask questions, they admit uncertainty, and they're open to changing their minds. They care about truth, not victory. So if someone seems obsessed with proving themselves right all the time, what they really fear is losing control of how they're perceived. 6. They lack humility. One of the most beautiful traits of real intelligence is humility. The smarter someone truly is, the more aware they become of how much they don't know. They don't need to act like experts on every topic. They're comfortable saying, "I'm not sure," or "I don't know enough about that." Fake smart people can't do that. Their ego won't let them admit ignorance. They'll make things up, talk in circles, or pretend to have experience in areas they clearly don't. It's like their whole identity depends on maintaining this illusion of knowing everything. True intelligence is confident but humble. It doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need applause. It just is. The moment someone pretends to know everything about everything, that's not brilliance. That's insecurity in disguise. Number 7. They never change their mind. Another sign, fake smart people are stubborn. Once they believe something, it's set in stone. Even when presented with solid evidence, they refuse to adjust. That's because for them, changing their mind feels like losing. But real intelligence evolves. It updates itself. When smart people learn something new, they're not afraid to say, "I was wrong." That's strength, not weakness. It shows they value truth over pride. Think about it. Every great scientist, inventor, or thinker in history had to question their own ideas constantly. Adaptability is what makes knowledge powerful. But when someone can't ever say, "I changed my mind," that's not intelligence, that's ego wearing a lab coat. Number 8. Their ideas fall apart under questioning. This one's the ultimate test. When someone is faking intelligence, their ideas often sound strong at first, but crumble fast when you ask a few follow-up questions. For example, they might confidently say, "The education system is outdated," which might actually be true, but if you ask, "Okay, how exactly would you fix it?" or "What part of it needs the most change?" they start freezing, because they've memorized opinions, not developed understanding. Real intelligence holds up under pressure. You can ask a smart person why 5 times, and they'll keep building on their reasoning. They'll refine their point, explore angles, and admit where the gaps are. Fake intelligence collapses after the second why. So the next time you're unsure about someone's intellect, just get curious. Ask them to explain their stance in detail. The truth always reveals itself when the script runs out. And finally, the biggest difference of all, fake smart people care more about looking smart than actually doing anything smart. They want the title, the attention, the social points. They love being praised for how smart they seem, but there's rarely any real action or contribution behind it. They'll post long think pieces online, quote philosophers, or act like intellectual rebels, but if you look closer, there's no substance, no impact, just talk. It's like watching someone build castles out of smoke. Real intelligence is different. It's quietly powerful. It creates, it builds, it teaches, it helps. Truly smart people don't chase validation, they chase improvement. Their focus isn't on appearing brilliant, it's on doing something meaningful with their knowledge. Because in the end, it's not how smart you look that matters, it's what you actually do with it. So, the next time you meet someone who sounds like a genius, don't be fooled by the performance. Watch how they communicate, how they listen, how they handle being wrong. Real intelligence doesn't need to announce itself. If you learned a thing in this video, share it with someone who'd enjoy it. And remember, it's better to be a lifelong learner. Now be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you all in the next one.